It started as a normal Thursday evening, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink, the quiet suburban street humming with its usual calm. My phone buzzed, and there it was, her text, casual and careless. "I'll be late, don't wait." I stared at it a moment, letting the word settle in, a smile barely tugging at my lips. My fingers typed back slowly, deliberately. "No rush, I'm not alone either." I set the phone down, letting silence hang in the air like a loaded gun. Somewhere deep inside, I already knew tonight would unravel everything. Weeks of subtle betrayals had been accumulating in silence, whispers and hidden laughter that she believed I never noticed. Late nights at work, hushed phone calls in corners, the tiny lies she thought inconsequential, they were all logged meticulously in my mind. I didn't need proof yet. Tonight, the evidence would present itself. I wanted her to feel the full weight of realization, the shock of being caught in her own web of deception. She had underestimated me, assumed calm meant ignorance, and that was her first mistake. The apartment was quiet, almost eerily so, except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. I arranged a small table in the living room, a cup of coffee set for two, deliberately casual, deliberately suggestive. My pulse thumped with anticipation, not with anger but with the thrill of controlled revelation. I could hear the soft click of the lock at the door and held my breath. She expected solitude. She didn't expect what awaited her, didn't expect that tonight, her secret would have a face sitting calmly in my living room. She entered, her bag swinging slightly, her designer heels tapping softly on the wooden floor. Her eyes flickered with fatigue, and she tossed her keys onto the counter, a faint smile brushing her lips. "Traffic was terrible," she muttered, shrugging off her coat. I motioned toward the living room casually, the word smooth. "Sit down, I save you a spot." Confusion crossed her face, a slight tremor in her hands. As she approached, her steps faltered. The woman seated on my couch, composed and calm, looked up, and her gaze met mine with quiet acknowledgement. Her world tilted. Recognition hit her like a physical blow. Her face drained of color, the breath catching in her throat. The person before her wasn't just any witness. She was the living proof of months of deception. I didn't speak. Silence can crush louder than any argument. The apartment seemed to shrink, the walls pressing in with the weight of truth. She stepped back, words faltering. "How?" The whisper was fragile, broken. All her carefully spun lies, all the trust she had shattered, were laid bare in the soft glow of the living room. Her mask of control slipped instantly. She sank onto the nearest chair, hands trembling, lips quivering. I let her watch, let her absorb the inevitability. Every excuse she had whispered to smooth over her absences, every false smile, every betrayal, now stood naked before her. "It's not what you think," she muttered, voice hollow even to herself. I remained calm, letting the stillness speak louder than any accusation. Tonight wasn't about revenge, it was about clarity, the revelation of the truth she thought she hid so well. I moved toward her slowly, deliberately, each step measured, controlled. "You thought you were clever," I said softly, my voice steady, deliberate. "But I saw everything. Not just tonight. Everything." Her eyes widened, pupils dilating in panic. She realized, perhaps too late, that the intricate web of lies she had woven for months was already unraveling. The woman on the couch didn't need to speak. Her presence was enough. She embodied the consequences my wife had never imagined, a silent verdict waiting to be acknowledged. She tried to avert her gaze, searching frantically for some escape route, but there was none. I can explain," she whispered, desperation cracking through her voice. I shook my head slowly, letting the weight of my disappointment settle over her like ice. No explanation could reverse months of deceit, no plea could rebuild the shattered trust. Her carefully constructed reality had crumbled in minutes, leaving only the raw, cold truth. I could see it in her eyes. Guilt, fear, shame, a combination far more devastating than anger alone. The realization hit her fully. She had imagined that deception was invisible, that I would remain blind while she manipulated time, space, and perception. But I had been awake the entire time, observing, waiting for the right moment. Every laugh shared in secret, every hurried call, every fleeting look, it had all been catalogued. The climax she hadn't foreseen was unfolding now, and she was powerless. The calm, measured presence of the woman on my couch, paired with my silent authority, left her exposed and helpless. Tears filled her eyes, but they did nothing to soften the impact. She had believed she could play a dangerous game, that I would never act, that secrets could stay buried forever. I let her absorb the full magnitude of exposure, letting the silence speak for itself. No theatrics were necessary. Truth has a way of slicing deeper than any outburst. Her sobs echoed softly in the room, each one a testament to the crumbling facade she had so meticulously crafted. Tonight, I had become both witness and arbiter of her betrayal. I spoke finally, deliberately, letting the words hang in the air. You built your world on secrets. Tonight you saw what that costs. Her sobs grew louder, jagged and raw, punctuating the room with a painful melody of regret. I offered no comfort, no soft words, no false reconciliation. Tonight wasn't about mending, it was about truth. The woman on the couch remained composed, a quiet, unyielding affirmation of the betrayal she had orchestrated. She had believed she was untouchable. Now, the reality was inescapable. Minutes stretched endlessly as she slumped, broken, in the chair. Her mind raced, replaying every lie, every secret rendezvous, every stolen moment. I stood still, unyielding, letting her confront herself fully. There was no anger, only clarity, the devastating power of revelation. The apartment had transformed into a crucible where her deception burned away under the calm light of truth, leaving only vulnerability and undeniable guilt behind. She had no answers left, only the weight of consequence pressing down on her. Finally, she whispered, barely audible, "What do you want from me?" The words were hollow, soaked with despair. I exhaled slowly, the answer already certain. "I don't want anything," I said, letting the finality sink in. "What I want cannot exist in a house built on lies." Her eyes widened, realization and fear mingling. Tonight had rewritten our story, and she was powerless to stop it. The truth had claimed the night, and there was no retreat from its relentless clarity. As I walked past her, the calm in my steps deliberate and unbroken, I felt a strange liberation. Betrayal had been revealed fully, secrets laid bare, and the person who thought she could deceive remained powerless before the reality she had created. She would remember the face on that couch, the silent affirmation of my awareness, forever. Tonight wasn't about revenge, it was about exposing truth so piercingly that nothing, not tears, not excuses, could ever obscure it. She had been caught, and the lesson would last a lifetime. Her world had shattered in 10 minutes, faster than she could react, faster than her carefully rehearsed lies could defend themselves. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. I simply existed, the calm observer as she confronted the consequences of her own choices. In her panic, I saw clarity. In her helplessness, I found quiet vindication. And as I stepped into the night, leaving her with a stark, unalterable truth, I understood fully. When lies are exposed calmly and deliberately, they crush harder than anger ever could. Tonight, she learned exactly who I meant.